Welcome to Maneuvering Monday. I'm one of your hosts. My name is AK, and this is a summer video of the first chapter and the two first episodes of chapter 2 of the book, so you're ready to listen to the next episode without having to go back. In the first chapter of the book, we meet Marie, who's the head of development HR in the edtech company ZebraApps. As an increasing number of employees are resigning each month, the CEO of ZebraApps, Natalie, tasks Marie with finding out what's going on and with fixing the problem. Benchmarking the competition, Marie finds out that the only differentiating factor that ZebraApps does not offer is free soda. The leaving employees encourage Marie to speak to Anne, a former employee at ZebraApps, and Marie's boss Mark, the VP of HR, finds out that Marie has been tasked with fixing the retention problem, and he's upset that Natalie did not give this task to him. In the second episode of the first chapter, Marie presents the results of her benchmark to Natalie and Mark takes note of the missing soda. During the meeting, Marie understands that Mark has been conducting exit interviews with employees, but he never shared the results with her. As he shares the results, Marie discovers that Anne, who she was recommended to speak to by the leaving employees, had stated that Aslo was the reason she left. Aslo is a remote learning system developed by Anne that the developers wanted to use for children displaced by the conflict in Ukraine. An idea that was denied by the leadership team. Leafing through the exit interviews, Marie finds out that many of the employees state that some things happened or changed during the past year. And during that time, the company had grown a lot on the sales side. In the third episode of the first chapter, Marie learns from Anne's former boss at ZebraApps that Anne does consulting work now. Anne and Marie finally meet up, and Anne explains that she left the ZebraApps company because she could not keep the engineering department together as one single person. Anne challenges Marie and says that Marie is the one holding the HR department together, and that's dysfunctional, partly because Marie crowds other people's initiative out. Anne also challenges Marie to start addressing the failures of the system directly, and points out that Mark takes credits for the team's work, which adds to the dysfunction. Marie thinks she puts Anne in her place by disclosing a situation where Anne had unknowingly put a colleague in an unfortunate situation while that colleague was undergoing a gender transformation. Finally, Anne reveals that ZebraApps could have actually offered Aslo to the children of Ukraine at no extra cost, but they chose not to. In the last episode of chapter 1, Marie is attending a flower party at her child Ellie's kindergarten, but she's late and distracted by her meeting with Anne and the challenges at work. At night, she talks to her husband about how making the technology work is the easy part and how making the team collaborate is the hard part. Marie reads a LinkedIn post about games people play in organization, and she realizes that Mark is actually playing the game of obfuscation, which is about keeping everyone on their toes and guessing. During her next day at work, she finds out that Mark has told Natalie that Marie will launch a culture program to fix the retention problem. And although she's initially angered by this betrayal of trust, she remembers the game that Mark is playing, and she simply agrees to do the presentation of the culture program at the next leadership meeting. In the first episode of the second chapter, the VP of Sales, Jacques, is deliberately late for a mandatory monthly coaching session with Marie, and she has to actually convince him of the relevance of these meetings by explaining the importance of self-reflection and emotional maturity to be part of a leadership team that pulls the organization in the same direction. Jack has been hired recently to build the commercial side of the business, and he's not well liked by the engineering teams. Marie learns that Anne did not put their colleague in an unfortunate situation, but that the colleague was in fact upset that the leadership team did not support donating the spare capacity of the data center to the displaced children and teachers in Ukraine. Marie discovers that Natalie defined a mission statement and company values when she founded the company, and she involves her entire team in developing the presentation of the culture program for the leadership meeting. Mark has soda fridges installed in ZebraApps. In the second episode of chapter 2, Marie learns that Mark initially joined ZebraApps for the cultural fit, and that he was attempting to establish self-managing teams in his former company, but he failed and left. An unknown company rebel hangs post-its with insults on all the soda fridges. Marie and her team planned the culture program, suggesting to start with a half-day offsite for the leadership team to dive into the existing values and verify that they're still a good fit for the company. She and Mark present this plan to Natalie, and Natalie is supportive. And after the meeting with Natalie, Mark admits to Marie that he knows the soda fridges will not solve the retention issue because but he was actually the one to take out the values from the introduction presentation because he thought there was too much dissonance between the values and reality. He also tells Marie about the other co-founder of Zebra Apps, Richard, who left the company when Zebra Apps got into cash flow problems. And finally, Mark encourages Marie to win over the VP of Sales, Jacques, in order to be successful with the culture program. That was all for now. You're now ready to listen to the next episode.